Welcome to the High Achieving Female Podcast, powered by Know, where we believe high achieving female leaders deserve to be known. Here, you're going to get the tips, tools, and inspiration you need to network, grow, scale, and balance your business, career, and life. Man, what a really fun day today. This is going to be this conversation. I hope you all are ready for this.
Yeah, me too. Am I ready?
Well, we have the co-founder of Girl Tribe, Sarah, here with us today. And Sarah, you and I have known each other, oh my God, I feel like for so long. Mm-hmm. And that's why I'm so excited to have a proper conversation about all things Girl Tribe. So thanks for being here.
Thank you. Hard to find another cool Sarah, so I'm glad you know.
And we've got H's too. So
yeah. That's true. You Sarah Elizabeth?
I'm Sarah Jane Elizabeth.
Oh, I guess you're Sarah just Elizabeth.
My parents
just were just
throw another name in there.
There were just I think only 4 names in the hospital, running around.
That's it, exactly. Yeah. I think we're a segment. It was just so funny. So during that time, there wasn't very good.
Have you ever met a baby Sarah?
No,
I know. It's an obsolete.
They're all in their 40s.
Yeah, it's an obsolete name.
Oh my gosh. We have so much to unpack. A big thing that I really want to talk about is business and life and the founding story of Girl Tribe. Your co-founder, Carrie, who is actually still your business partner. Let's just say she's still your friend, business partner too. So you're all the things. It's just not here today. And I'm so excited to have this time with you. And oh my gosh, we've got some other stuff to really dive into and talk about. But let's just first start, for those of you who haven't heard of Girl Tribe, let's just start with what is that? 'Cause I know it is a movement, but you kind of put it into your own words as to what is Girl Tribe.
Yeah. So in 2024, it's a graphic t-shirt company. Yeah. We've definitely had evolutions and all that kind of stuff, as any business would or could or should. But it started really as a women empowerment brand. And it sounds so 2014 to say that. So
that's what it was.
Those words. Yeah. I kind of dropped those words because it just felt, kind of like girl boss backlash a little bit. And so we're yeah, it is that, it's not, that's never been a bad thing for me. But, I think in the last, check that 4 years, we've really been okay, elevator pitch.
You're and what are we, right?
What is it?
Yeah. The thing I love about this, because we've talked about the evolution of our brands and and it was very 2014 where it was Girl Boss, Girl Tribe, women's empowerment, I because we kind of come from the same Know and Girl Tribe, which we used to be No Tribe. Remember we had that conversation? You were are you jumping tribe? Am I jumping tribe? What are we doing with this? Yeah. We've been through a lot.
Yeah.
But so Girl Tribe actually started as with you and Carrie, kind of this coming together and with Pink Toast. And I think we went way, way back. So for those who are avid lovers of your brand, and there were people in Arizona who were oh my gosh, have you heard of this company called Girl Tribe? I'm yeah, I know, Sarah. I know those. I know those girls. But it actually started that way, right? Women's empowerment, kind of print, graphic design. Talk a little bit about the early days of Pink Toast meets Girl Tribe.
So Carrie owned Pink Toast, which is a graphic design company. So she was, did wedding invites and corporate logos and branding and websites. And she started in 2011. And I started my first business in 2012, which was Social Dress Shop. So I owned an online dress company, and my company was all women-owned businesses, and the dresses had to be made in the US. And that was because I came from a retail background, and I had worked in New York City and done, I'm so typical millennial. I'm 23. Where else would I move? To New York City?
Of course.
Yeah, I'm going to live in Murray Hill, and I'm going to work in fashion for nothing. I literally did all those things. No regrets, but, And then, so I started that in 2012, and then Carrie started Pink Toast in 2011. And we had met up right before I started Social Dress Shop. So I had finished my interior design degree. I went back to school, got my interior design degree. Carrie was an architect at the time. And we went to high school together. We were never buddies, but she was the only female that I knew that was in the interior or architecture business at the time. So you're talking post-recession. We have coffee, which is so funny because I'm like, who's going to meet for coffee anymore? Like, it's cocktails, but that's who we were, like we were good Catholic girls. But we sat at the Starbucks for about 8 hours in 2012. And I was like, yeah, I want to work in interior design now. And she was like, straight up, there are no interior design. Like all architects, all the firms had shrunk, from recession. Nothing was being built. Architects are now doing interiors jobs. You don't have an architecture degree, you're not going to get a job right now. And I was like, that's okay. I don't want to do it. Like, I'm going back to school.
Okay, looks fine. I don't really want to be in interior design.
No, it just didn't. I started working for a firm for a little bit, and I was just like, wait, if I'm going to change my life up, this isn't it. And it's great.
Yeah.
I love interiors. I mean, that's such a big part of who I am, but I didn't want to do it.
Right.
That wasn't it. I loved retail. I loved fashion, for better or for worse. And so, anyway, so we sat
and she was kind of like at this pivotal moment too in her career.
Yeah. Yeah. So she was one of the only architects that didn't get fired during that time. And we always joke because she was the lowest man on the totem pole. Like, we were young. And so she was being paid pennies, and they're like, we can keep the girl who knows. We always say, who knew how to fix the printer at the top.
That's right. She's just like soaring down low. Yeah, they're like letting everyone go.
And, oh yeah, she was like, and she didn't have a fallback plan. She's like, I got to keep this job. So she's like, they're like, okay. Like in the workroom one day, she heard her boss say, we need a new website, and she was like, I can build it. Like, probably know how to build a website.
Right.
But she Googled and she YouTubed, and
that's what they do.
That's what you do.
Yeah.
So anyway, so she was kind of in this weird transition where she was working all day at the architecture firm. And then at night she was cranking out business cards for people for, $30 an hour, I mean, but like, but she was figuring it out. And I wanted to figure it out too. And so I had this idea for this company. And so she said, okay, well, it sounds like you don't want to be in interiors. Can I do your website? I was like, cool. And so that's how Carrie and I started working together.
I love that.
So she did the logo for Social Dress Shop. So if you ever look it up, it is definitely the Kelly Wearstler logo. It is, I just totally ripped it because she was like my favorite interior designer at the time. And you guys start somewhere,
Yeah.
So Carrie went on all the photo shoots with me. So we learned from scratch how to build a business together. And so she was building Pink Toast and I was building Social Dress Shop. And so I learned, this was back in the Blogspot days. So all your influencers were bloggers. And so Instagram had just kind of come up. And so I learned the influencer game, the affiliate program, and reward style, which is like to know it now.
Right.
Amber Vins herself called me to ask me to be on the platform. Like, that's how small that was. It's a $3 billion business.
Yeah.
I think it's probably more than that, actually. She's a genius. In retrospect, I'm like, I really did not believe in her. I was like, what is this? I don't even understand it. And it's like, okay, Sarah, like, she really knew what she was talking about, And, she's a Texan and she had all these great people around her too. But she was just a brilliant woman. But anyways, so I was doing that, and Carrie was, she quit architecture. We always joke, I think they hired 4 people to replace her, and she left.
Of course.
So it cost them way more to replace her. But, I think also her boss, it's kind of looking back at all the people that we've known, her boss, these older guys, they're probably in their 40s. And we were like, they are so, no, in their 40s. But he was like, yeah, I knew you weren't going to be here long. Because like once you started doing that, you're not going to be around here. Because once you catch it, right? Once you catch what you think you need to do, or this thing that lives inside of you, and then you're not going to send nobody else.
And you're stepping into it, and you're like, okay, I'm going to explore this, and you get a little success, and you get a little success, and you get a little. And then you just get enough confidence to like go out and do it yourself.
You right? Do it.
Yeah. So you two, high school, not friends, but not enemies, right? Not friends in high school. We just didn't really hang out, right? And then you go and grab coffee, realize that you're in a very similar place in life. Mm-hmm. And then you both are kind of like here, like hanging out in life, doing things, friends at this point. And then you decide it's time to join forces. It's time to create what's now effectively known as Girl Tribe.
That's right. Yeah. So in 2014, we officially started Pink Social, and I had just had my first daughter. And I was about 3 months postpartum, and it kind of is like the same every time I tell a story, it's similar to when I graduated interior design school. I was like, that was cool, but it's not it.
That's it.
It felt good for a second.
Yeah.
And there's more. There's more to be. There's more to kind of explore. And Carrie was feeling really similar in 2014. She'd had a full-fledged graphic design business at the time. It was really successful. I mean, everyone in town knew it. In retrospect, probably because it was the cheapest one, but but we were diving into the world of entrepreneurship together.
I love that.
You were there, right? It's like, I am so sad for people that didn't experience how positive that time was.
Yeah.
Because we hadn't seen it.
No.
I don't know if we will again.
I know. It was sort of this like beautiful like time of women were really stepping into feeling like they could do anything and that nothing could stop us. And, it was really kind of like the beginning of that Me Too movement kind of kicked things off. And then here we are.
Yeah.
And so, I love that you said pink social. You just gave me like a huge flashback. This is before it was Girl Try, right?
Yeah, because we just took words from both.
Shop social like pink social.
Kind of like what you do when you're like an 8th grade with like, you're like, we're the Three Musketeers. And we're like, A, B, and C. You're like, that's literally what we did. Probably shows a lot of like the inner child that we had to like work on. But yeah. And then we were like, this actually doesn't make sense.
But you like you were here in Charlotte and you took Charlotte by storm with these pop-ups that you would do. And I remember like we were part of your pop-up with an old business that I had. And then we've distributed our publications through your pop-ups, and these pop-ups, were huge.
Yeah.
We're talking how many thousands of people would come to these?
I think 3 to 5.
That's a lot, right?
Yeah.
3 to 5. And then you were essentially, it was like a collective of women founders, women businesses, product-based businesses, right? That would come together, and it was like really a glorified like flea market.
Totally.
It was beautiful and had style behind it. And there was like just this like, are you going to like the pop-up this weekend? Or I wonder if it's coming back. Did you get your ticket? Like, it was such a vibe and such a thing here. And so you really cornered the market here on that. And that's really probably the big first thing that I remember with Girl Chat. Plus, like, there was a Facebook group and all these things. Like, you are literally creating, and I call it a movement. And really, that was really the beginning of followers and fans and buy-in and this movement of like, we're going wherever she's going, wherever Girl Chat's going is where we're going.
Yeah.
And it was such an interesting time. But talk a little bit about like, how the hell did you conceptualize it? Okay, I have a dress shop and I have a graphic design business. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
Just kind of like a lot of my 30s were just accidental. So, I think we started the Facebook group in 2015, I think. And that was really just because we felt really like idiots, like starting a business. Like we didn't know what we were doing. I mean, I was a dance major in college, like dance and sociology. But Carrie was always an architect. I remember my dad was always like, do you want to take a business class? I was like, why? I'm an artist. Like, okay, you know what would have been great? A couple of business classes. So, during that time, everyone, and we talk about this a lot. Okay. So you've got this like post-recession move, right? Yeah. And so I think just kind of like COVID, what I'm hoping is happening is that you've got these artisans and these artists and people that are like, okay, wait, life has changed as we know it.
Yeah.
I could go back to that, or I could find happy somewhere else. And for a lot of women at the time, it was small businesses. That's how I'm going to that's how I use my voice. And we saw a ton of very successful businesses at the time that started with like $1.
That's right.
There was still no capital being raised.
Yeah.
Like, let's be clear. I don't even know anybody personally that had a bank loan.
No, and me either. Bootstrap all the way. We did what we could do, and we kept reinvesting, taking a little bit for ourselves and reinvesting.
And that's what the Facebook group was really. It's like, okay, so, what's an EIN? So and that's really what it was that was the original intention. It was just to connect with like-minded individuals. Yep.
Yeah.
And then we had it going for about 8 months. And, it was just so exciting. I mean, it was such a moment. And, it came around holiday season. We were like November. Because someone threw it out there. They're like, we should have an event. Like, you have all these great entrepreneurs.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, totally. We should do a pop-up. Because when I had some dress shop, I started with a pop-up, which is like a totally ridiculous story, but it was just me. But, it was in an art gallery and had like a lot of like sexual things on the wall, and they would cover it up. It doesn't matter now, but it was a big deal at the time to me.
Yes. So now let's do a pop-up, but not that pop-up.
Yeah, no, right. And we kind of stumbled into a brewery. Like some of the guys that own the brewery went to high school with us. So we're like, oh, this feels safe for us to do this, right?
You know them.
And so we just kind of put the call out, like, to see where you want to do it. I mean, I think we had probably 40, 50 vendors that first time. I think we pocketed. I mean, this is probably bad math, but I think we pocketed $2,000.
Right.
It cost $1,000 for the video.
Yeah.
And then like whatever else we had. I mean, there weren't even balloon arches. I mean, we're talking like what we've spent our money on since is really funny. But anyways, we learned we had like nothing in the bank.
Yeah.
And we were so freaking excited. Like we like high-fived afterwards and like
$1,000 net.
Oh my God. And it wasn't
rushed
it. It was never about the money back then.
About the movement and mobilizing these women.
Yeah.
Right.
It was great. I mean, we were so excited. They were hugging us afterwards. It was like all this great stuff. Carrie was, 8 months pregnant at the time. So like I had forced her to and it was just us. I mean, please do nothing.
Right.
We were taping the floors, we were figuring all this stuff out.
Yeah.
Anyways, so then this Carrie's sitting in a chair with her big old pregnant belly, and someone's like, okay, so what's the next
What's
one?
next? Yeah.
And we were like,
what? You want to do it again?
Yeah. Like, oh my God. Carrie's like, okay, let me have this kid eat first. She has him like 2 days later, like a month early. He's totally fine. So we always laughed at the pop-up, like made her a mom a month early. But, so that was the next thing, was to build to the next one. And then we got into this cadence of 3 a year.
And you eventually expanded into other markets, right? You tried out some other markets as what work and then ultimately you kind of pulled back.
Yeah. After we never went back out into another city after COVID, just because it was just too hard to know. I remember it got too hard to know what other states could do. It was right.
It's right.
And we were putting deposits down, and they were canceled and losing money everywhere. But yeah, we went to Nashville, Jacksonville, Atlanta, Greenville, Charleston. We've had things in Virginia, and I mean, all over. But yeah, and at the time, like the quality of vendors too was so strong because everyone believed it so much. Mm-hmm. They were all just like the woman that was here before me on your sofa. She's like, I'm going to be $1 billion brand. Mm-hmm. Everyone had that feeling back then. Mm-hmm. And
such an exciting time.
It was such an exciting time. And you believed it for every single person.
Yeah.
And so it just kind of naturally grew on its own. And then, excuse me, we needed the staff to sort of support that, because all of a sudden you have, well, you can attest to this more than anyone else. You have all these people in all these cities that you need to talk to and tell what they need. And, but we wanted to be so hands-on. Me walking around a pop-up, I used to be like, are you sure you want your table right here? Because people are not going to be able to walk around. Can I move it for you? And then in an hour, if you don't make any sales, I'll come back and move it for you. Wow. We wanted so much to show people all the mistakes that we had made and be like, don't do it like that. There's a better way out there. And so God, I could probably write a book of all the things that we saw.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So, and then from pop-ups, this was huge, right? And perfect. You eventually made more than $1,000 on every pop-up,
right? Yeah, that did help.
This is what I love most about Girl Tribe and the story and the two of you, that you kind of have this like, all right, whatever, let's try it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's just so important in entrepreneurship. Like, okay, let's just try it. Let's see what happens. Like,
Yeah.
look, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Let's
yeah,
see.
totally. Oh,
And if it fails, we'll let it go. We'll burn into the ground and keep moving. And you two have been very agile in business. And, we've been together probably 10 years now, right? So I've seen, and you've gone from like zero, $1,000 on that first pop-up to, 8 figures and in revenue now, right? So there's always been this sort of, spirit of you and Carrie, like, you know what, we'll try anything.
Yeah.
And then we'll pull back and then we're going to learn and see, and then twist it and flip it and streamline it. And who is the operations person of the duo?
I think we're really 50-50 on that. To be honest with you. Yeah.
Okay.
It's interesting. Like, I think it's always just me and Carrie. Like kind of no matter what, it always just kind of comes back to like how we work together and like our relationship. It takes a lot of therapy together too. Like, we go to a therapist together.
That's
like with the arch counselor.
That's
like,
so
yeah.
Well, and I think that's for you. Right. That's so important. I'm glad you said that because most partnerships fail.
Yeah.
Every partnership I've ever been in has failed.
Yeah.
Right. Or and maybe not miserably, but we even end up buying each other out. Or I'm always like, my work ethic doesn't match your work ethic. And we've talked a lot about that, like in conversations, but I'm so glad that you said that. Like, you have to be committed to make it work. And that means therapy.
Yeah.
That means decisions, and that means non-negotiables, and that means guidelines and boundaries and things like that. So I think that's so important.
I probably wouldn't suggest someone to have a business partner, like if they didn't need it.
Yeah.
But in those days. Oh, yeah.
Do you want to do this? We should. 100%. Oh, totally. Like, how many businesses are formed that way, right? And yours just happens to be.
Yeah, we just have
online staying.
We like. I say that with like Ariane, to say it with my chest, that I don't think it's a good idea to go into business with your best friend. And the thing is, Carrie and I weren't best friends. And when people call us best friends, we're like, it's like so much more than that.
Right.
Not to belittle a best friend relationship, right, which is the best thing a woman can have. But if it's your husband's, but it's like sisters.
Best friends are almost like, it's such an emotional thing, right? Like, I'm emotionally like attached to this person because she's my bestie, you know what? Versus like,
but we're not really a bestie when you're annoyed.
We're in business together. That's a whole nother thing. Yeah. Like, sometimes we're not friends.
I don't think there's a word for our relationship.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. The older we get and the longer we've been in business and the money that comes in and out and the blah, blah, like whatever. It's honestly been more of us diving into who we are. Yeah. Like, we kind of have to push each other on like, okay, so why do you think about money that way? Like we've had this conversation for like probably 2 years. We're really starting to explore scarcity mindset when it comes to money. Okay, so is it from your childhood? How did your mom talk about it? That kind of stuff is like kind of our day to day, because it's like, okay, so why do we want this? Like, now that we're a decade in together officially, right? Where do we want to go?
Yep.
And why do we?
That's it.
We go to the same high school. We live in the same neighborhood. Our kids go to the same school. We drive the same car. Like, there's a lot that is so very tied into who we are together. So it's kind of like another marriage.
Right.
And so it's almost nice to get older, because then you're like, okay, I'm going to pull back and say, what do I want?
Yeah.
What do we want together? And what do we want separately?
Right. And that's okay.
I can't remember what the question is, right? That's kind of where we're.
I haven't asked one yet, but I have one waiting for sure.
Okay.
So I want to get back to the story too. Like, so the pop-ups were happening. You ended up going into, now you're creating your own merchandise, your own product line, right?
Yeah, we don't.
So was the pop-up the like vehicle to helping promote the product line to your own line?
But honestly, we were never building around.
So you were a vendor inside your pop-up.
Yep, we were essentially. Yeah. So we always had the t-shirts and originally we were going to do I think we were going to do stationery, but it turned out like tape paper. The Carrie liked it. So I was like, no, we're going to do shirts. Okay. And turns out we're like really good at it. But yeah, so and then the pop-ups continued, and then you know,
And then when you're approached with a storefront, I remember when you opened your first storefront, it was like holiday, right? Did you take you took like I remember you said, hey, everyone, we're going to try something and we're going to see how this goes.
Yeah.
And if it sticks, it sticks.
Yeah.
Right. And this goes back to my whole statement of like, you too, hey, let's just try it. Let's see how we can make it work. Let's run the numbers. Is it feasible? And if it doesn't work, then we just pull back and it is what it is. Right.
Yeah.
And so talk a little bit about opening your very first storefront. It must have stuck because you eventually.
Well, that's the story we still have. Yeah. That's the story we still have. But yeah, so that was so funny because we still just had like very like no money. We had like no money. And like no money to buy inventory. And so we kind of pulled from all of our vendors in like from the Girl Check pop-up. And we were like, hey, does anybody have any inventory they want to sell? We'll sell it for you, give you a percentage, like whatever. You do that kind of whole thing just because we got bill. I mean, it's 900 square feet.
Right.
The store.
A whole big 900 square feet.
Whole big 900. I mean, even like sometimes I'll like look back at those pictures and it's like full walls are bare. I mean, we did everything we could to just get inventory in there. But yeah, it did pretty well. And then we just kept convincing the landlord to keep us and as a percentage of sales, which again, I think so much of our success story is because we were at the right place at the right time. Yeah. So like, we paid, I think 10% of our sales for like a long enough time where we were like, okay, actually we're going to pay more. We're paying more this way than if we're just going to a traditional lease.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I'm the guy I see him around town all the time. He's always like, you were the most difficult person. I know because I was so, I don't even know if I was scared. I just like didn't know that's what we wanted. And I just had my second daughter at that time. And at that time I still was so go. I just, different. Anyway, so yeah, then we had that store in it, and then all of a sudden we were the girls with the store, and we do the pop-ups, and we have a product. Yeah. And at some point we were still at Pink Toast. So at some point we had to decide.
And then you had a mobile trailer, like all types of things.
Yeah. So we had to decide like what was going to go. So he's a graphic design company, dissipated. And then one of our employees left to go start her own thing, and we kind of gave her our last remaining major clients.
Okay.
And we were like, she's gonna take care of you now. She's been working on the brand for like
the whole time.
Yes. Yeah. Uh-huh. So that felt really good. It was like a good, sometimes it's just such a gift to get a full closure moment.
Yes.
And we don't always get that. So that was one of those great moments for that. And I think it was also kind of in retrospect, our first time we saw a decline in money coming in on that side. And we didn't realize that was kind of one of the reasons we stopped it too.
Did you feel like you were like maybe doing too much, or you were spread too thin? Like the concept of like, I have so many things happening right now that I really can't focus on any of them.
Was it 100% about that? 100%. That was 50% of it.
Okay.
And then I think the other 50% was that times were changing.
Yeah.
That people were no longer, I mean, at this point, I was talking about like Carrie Barker, $30. At this point, we had to cost it, the cost was like $2,000 for like a full brand set or whatever it was. And all of a sudden people were like, well, I can go get a logo for $99 online.
Right.
Minted tape.
Yep.
Like we used to do people's holiday cards. Like it was just like all these things came out and we were like, okay, so we're either going to fight really hard for this.
Yes.
Or we're done.
Yep.
Which is really similar to like how we stopped the pop-ups.
I love that too, because when you analyze as a business owner, there's a lot of things that go into making decisions. Mm-hmm. Ultimately, it needs to not be so much your heart, right? Like you need to look at the numbers, and do I love this? Has it changed so much that I now have to put double effort into it? Mm-hmm. Is it worth it? Right.
Yeah.
Ultimately, you decided that you were going to continue on with the girl tribe vibe and doing the stores and the pop-ups. I want to get into this thing that happened that I saw that I think was so freaking incredible was your Taylor Swift traveling situation. You and Carrie are so good. I don't even know if it's like an intentional thing or if it just happens, the timing just happens to be right if that's what you chop it up to.
Yeah.
But you get in front of this movement or this momentum happening. And, there's a lot of people who are kind of like, kind of behind, like chasing behind it. You always are already always in the front. So you did these incredible pop-ups during the Taylor Swift tour.
I was like, oh.
And you were going, right?
I went a few times. Luckily, I didn't go every single.
Talk a little bit about that.
My famous set left me.
Where that concept came from, because you have the stores, you were doing pop-ups, you have all these collections and so on and so forth with the merchandise, and then here comes Taylor Swift.
Yeah. So and obviously last year, and we had one of our, it's kind of like, it's like one of our first and best customers texted me, and she was like, "Hey girl, Atlanta is next week. Like Taylor Swift Atlanta tour is next week. You should do something at the store." And I was like, okay. And so we were like, hey, we're going to do like a themed, like, because Carrie was always a big Taylor Swift fan. I am definitely very late to the game on that. And last year, obviously changed my life and heart, but, I was like, okay, fine, whatever. So we were like, okay, we'll take you a few of your shirts in store and let's see how this goes. Like we hadn't done that in so long.
Yeah.
I mean, e-commerce had just grown so strong, and everything for so long it's been where's our customer and what do they want from us, right? Always like that.
And you're just
and we're always probably moving too fast. And so anyway, so we had the coach, and I said, okay, yeah. And like my store manager like texted me, she's like, so we have like 200 people in mind to get in the store. Can you come help work? I was like, oh, yeah. And so all of a sudden, it was just like, that was pretty crazy. The next day I walked in and one of our employees was like, well, she's in, Sunny was like, she's ending the tour in LA in August. We should pop up in LA. And I was like, okay. And so I was like, okay, we'll find a pop-up space and then we'll just ship some inventory out there and see what happens. Well, we announced that we were going to do that. And then it was crazy. It was out of the woodwork. And people were like, hey, I've got a boutique in Pittsburgh. She's going to be here and whatever. So all of a sudden where did we go last year? Pittsburgh, Seattle, Chicago, New York. We did 10 days in LA, Kansas City. We went everywhere.
My gosh,
right? Maybe. I don't even know.
So
it was crazy. And then during this time, we had also started our production facility. So that also
that's it. Yeah.
So we're printing, packing, shipping. And then because we're doing it so quickly, we were shipping hundreds of thousands of inventory from one location to another and to just bananas. Like, I think like logistically, it was probably one of the dumber things we've done. Financially, it was a great decision. It was really fun. And so Carrie and I went out to the Kansas City one. And like, when else would I go to Kansas City? Like, I have no idea. Like, I don't know anybody out there. And then, so we popped up in like a Rowan, like the ear piercing places, because we just happened to know the people that own Rowan. And we were like, hey, we're going to like, literally it was like maybe July 5th. And I was like, hey, so we're thinking about coming out July 7th. Can we like pop up in the store? They're like, okay, totally.
See you in 2 days.
Yeah. And so then we palletize things, ship it out there. Carrie and I pick up a U-Haul and go and get it. And like, we're staying at like a casino out there. If you know us, you know that we love gambling. So we find this like crappy casino to stay at. And so the guy's like, hey, we got like 4 pallets for you. And he's like, do you want to drive the forklift or do you, it was just like, yeah. So anyway, that was crazy. We sold out. We were there for just 2 days and it was bananas. But I think that also was like a moment where I always say like Carrie was crying in the U-Haul, that it just felt, it caught up with us.
Yeah.
It was the pace and the pressure and the logistics and the people.
Yeah.
And it caught up with us.
Let's pause on that, because I want to go back to like the whole, what made this Taylor Swift thing even possible.
Oh,
so what made it possible was the experience.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you what made it possible.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be great.
You'll ghostwrite the book. But really what made it possible was me like looking back on the outside, right? It's like how people would be like, how are they doing this? How, first of all, where do they even know how to, but it was all of those years that were behind you, right? It was the pop-ups. It was now you taking in the production. So you were in charge of the print. You were in charge of the inventory. You weren't relying on other people. It was owning every bit of the business that allows you to move so fast and be so agile and to be able to, take in and be part of be a part of the movement essentially, and to be in front of it instead of behind it. And I sat and watched you and Carrie, and I saw the lines on social, and I was a very proud friend. Like, it was a very proud moment, but I was like, man, this is what a lot of people would say. They've made it.
Yeah,
They made it from top up to now. You're basically on tour with like Taylor. You're basically touring with Taylor. You basically are, right?
Yeah, it's the right place to rest. Yeah.
You're popping up and you were able to take a lot of that. And then, as you mentioned, it was very lucrative. But so I think that's something I really want everyone to know is like business ownership and entrepreneurship is one. It's being in the right place at the right time. It's being in charge of your own decisions.
Yeah.
It's also saying yes, right? And not being afraid to say no when it's a calculated risk, clearly, right? But it's also like just stumbling blocks, but like blocks on top of blocks on top of blocks, right? So I feel like that's so important for people who are listening or watching this to know, like, it wasn't literally like, hey, let's go pop up it. I mean, it kind of was, but you had a lot of this experience and a lot of this like know-how behind you.
It's easy to
downgrade the ability to do it. So I think, exactly. And I want to make sure that we like pay tribute to that, because I don't think just anybody could do that. But really where you were going was like, you had this moment where we're 10 years in, or we're $10 million in, right? And we're crying in U-Hauls, losing our mind, stressed out.
Yeah.
And you have to start making some decisions. And it's not just you, and it's not just her. It's together. It's like
and it's our families.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the girl boss moment actually lacked, was that it was only you. And I think I got really lucky with the man that I married.
Yeah.
Because he, is like attractive and stuff, but
I mean, he's cute.
Yeah.
But he supports you, which is even better.
But like unabashedly.
Yeah.
Do what you need to do the whole time. And same with Carrie, and I think all of a sudden we're like, oh shit,
maybe we don't want this anymore.
Families. Like I left a family vacation to make that decision to go to Kansas City. So yeah, it's great that I had all these connections and all this kind of stuff. But like, I consciously was like, okay, I think I can make X amount of dollars, but it's so funny. It still wasn't, it was just like, it was almost ego. Like, I know I can do this. And then all of a sudden it's Saturday afternoon. I hadn't seen my kids since like Tuesday or whatever it was. I'm exhausted. I mean, just when you sell, I don't know how many t-shirts it was. Let's say it was 10,000 t-shirts in 2 days, and it was just me and Carrie working. And they're like $38 a piece. That's a lot of times you literally have to take your own shirt off your back.
It's a lot.
And stuff, which I've done several times. And you're like, oh, this one? Yeah. And it is, and everyone is so nice. And, I was going to say, like, people at Kansas City were like, oh my God, we've been following you forever. I was like, you're in Kansas City? Like, I have no idea where I don't know where this is in the country. I don't understand why it's in Missouri and not Kansas. Like, can someone explain this to me? Like, I have no clue what's going on. But I think it was Carrie crying in the U-Haul, and I looked at her and I was like, what the fuck are we doing?
Can't do this.
We are so miserable, like all of a sudden we're both upping our antidepressant, anti-anxiety medications, we're like, sometimes
you're coping.
I would pop a couple extra Lexapro. First of all, don't rewatch Mad Men when you're in a bad space, because all the time you're going to start popping pills and then drinking at lunch, and nobody has to.
No. Right.
And so it was just like, my body doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'm invincible.
Yep.
My family will always be there. And then I'm looking back and I'm like, at the time, I've got a 9-year-old and a 5-year-old. And these girls are like, when are you coming home? And I'm like, but you don't understand. Mom's like, your life is expensive. Mom's paying for it. You start doing this thing. And I was like, what the hell am I doing? It was great to be in Kansas City. And weirdly enough, we like met people that worked for Taylor Swift on the plane out there, and they got us tickets. And we were like, but I'd already seen her once.
Right.
all of a sudden it was just like,
things that
I need more. Wait. I'm gonna, we were there for the Taylor Lautner night. So like kind of if you know, like that is a big Taylor Lautner night. I'm like, why does this guy?
Yeah,
I don't understand. Anyway, but all of a sudden I just felt like I was like, it was running. I wasn't running this ship anymore. And neither was Carrie. I mean, if I'm not running it, Carrie sure as hell isn't running it, you know? So we're like miserable. I'm like, hey, but like we were still, and I don't even know if we really could genuinely ask, what are we going to do next?
Right.
It was like, hey, well, we got to finish out the tour.
Yep.
So then I'll finish on LA for 15 days in August. I was at home at all of summer.
A ridiculous amount of employees.
Yeah. Overhead had sky high.
Overhead. You had your 4 stores.
Mm-hmm.
You had your
still doing pop-ups.
Still doing pop-ups. Mm-hmm. You had your distribution centers.
Mm-hmm.
You had storages.
Wholesale.
You had wholesale.
Mm-hmm.
You had, various collections and other collaborations that weren't related to
going to market and buying other people's stuff. I mean, hundreds and thousands of dollars every whatever time we were at market. So we were going to Vegas all the time, which we love, but we were spending more and everything was more and more. And then all your employees, well, we've worked really hard. We need more money.
Yeah.
And so in our heads, okay, we just want to make you happy. I know you've worked so hard and we cared so much. And all of a sudden it felt like we were running around without skin on. I can't like explain it the other.
Yeah.
And we were so exposed and so vulnerable and like fucking miserable. Also in the beginning of January last year in 2023, my oldest brother died. So I'm the youngest of 5 kids and he had been sick for like 6 months. And, so it was kind of something that we probably knew was going to happen. He'd been in the hospital the whole time. And I think that really started last year of the like, we got to make some decisions.
I can't keep going like
this. Does that mean, I don't know if anyone's like passed away that was close to you since you had a business, but you think you're going to come right back?
No,
but you can't.
No.
You take care of my mom, whatever. I'm the strong.
And life changes.
Life changes
to you. Everything changes. I know when my dad passed away, literally my entire life, totally different. I was just a different person.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think for the better, but like, everything changed. Like my priorities changed. What I cared about changed. My give a damn, busted. Like all the things changed.
I will say that and maybe it's like really dark humor, but it kind of is. But like when my brother died and like I'd get like an email from a landlord or something and I'd be like, you don't even fucking understand. My brother just had nothing to do with the situation. I was like totally we were just using. But I just thought, I'm like, oh, my brother would have loved that. He would have loved that. Oh my God. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm like, not only care the situation. That is like, just giving a one up, man. You're giving me a hard time for no reason. So like, I was so silly. But yeah, so it was just kind of like, one thing. And then also like obviously Carrie carrying me through the whole time.
I think that people, women, I don't know if it's just women. I feel like entrepreneurs, like we do it because we're also like kind of competitive. It's like what you said, we're competitive with ourselves. So we're like, I can do it. I'm going to do it. Watch me win. Right. You get into this thing and then you're like more and high performing women are like this. And I always say, if you have 5 minutes, we start a new business, we start a new line. And then before we know it, we're doing all the things. We're not sleeping. We're running ragged. We're drinking more. We're, whether popping pills or we don't have any self-care anymore. They're just like, we literally have this moment, whatever it is. And it's usually tied to an event of some sort. But you're like, what am I even doing?
Yeah.
And how the hell did I get here?
Yeah.
And whatever it is, I don't want it anymore. And you just know you don't want it anymore.
Yep.
And that kind of happened, I guess, and this is just Taylor Swift U-Haul moment. Maybe you're kind of started that.
Probably happened in Taylor too. Yeah. It was just crazy. And like Carrie's like, you can tell the last 2 years of our lives look like if you look at how many tattoos we got.
I know the many tattoos. There's many of them. There's many tattoos.
I think I started with like 1 and now it's like, I don't know, maybe 20.
You're like,
yeah. And some get really sad. And I'm like, I think I would take that off because that's a really sad story I don't want to tell anymore. But like, so bang. It was just little bombs. All of a sudden, it was little bombs. And I think, and also, Carrie and we talk all the time. We talk deep and like not deep. But we were talking, we were in Vegas last week, which is like basically our personal company retreat every couple months. I think we've been running so hard in a state of emergency since COVID. Mm-hmm. And we got so used to trying to make something else work, being the girls that could figure it out and kind of getting involved in that a little bit. Like during COVID, the space above our South End store was open. And so like I applied for a community grant so that our vendors could pop up there. So the community grant went straight to an artist to paint it. Like it was constantly. And then we had the 10,000 square foot store in Birkdale that was house supply, which was a totally different business. Yeah. It's like we have been inventing and reinventing. And because we knew we could, because once you figure one thing out, you're like, I could do anything. I can do anything. Right. And then like, and then anybody that would call, hey, you got a space open. Yeah, I'll take it. Hey, I got this. Okay, yeah, I'll take it. Hey, I was thinking about you guys. Sounds great. Whatever. It just started running
more and more and more and more and more and more. And it's almost like this. It's an addiction.
It is totally,
And I'm glad we're having this conversation because I think this is really important for, again, anyone who listens or anybody who gets to watch this, because maybe you're on the beginning side and you're like, that's what I want. Right.
Yeah.
And there's all of these things that they don't think about or they don't hear about. And they see this like glamorous lifestyle of what it is to be the founder or co-founder of Girl Tribe or whatever. Right. And there's so much, you even said it, like darkness or stress or burnout, or there's this whole other side of it, that maybe that they don't realize, like, this is totally not, this is social. The social real is not real. You know what I mean? But also, I think there's also going to be other people who are here listening and they're like, that's me right now. That's exactly where I am. And that's exactly what I'm feeling. And I feel like even with me and now, and we've really scaled back to scale up. And I think so often, we even talked about this kind of off camera earlier, as long as it takes you to like build something so great is as fast as it can completely go away.
Yeah.
For sure. And so let's talk about kind of where you are now. So we have this like pivotal moment another time. Also, we talk about like, you really have to, I think all business owners really have to, but you specifically in the product world, in the retail space, you have to adhere and see and pivot and transition and know that things are not going the way they used to, and the economy is changing, or the buyer is changing, or those sort of things. So where are you now?
So where we're at now is we're just a graphic t-shirt company. And I say that like with so much pride. There are no strings attached. There's no, and we're also doing this and we can do this for you too. And like, let me tap in. We're a graphic t-shirt company. We own our own production facility. We're really highly focused on, collaborating with college licenses. Game day is something that we've always done really well.
Yeah.
And so, we had a Panthers collaboration. We've had Charlotte FC, which are really cool because obviously these are big things. Kind of. And then that really led us into college licensing. And so where do you fit in there and how can you do that? And that's been a really fun, scalable.
Yeah.
But like just a really fun place where we can fit. And so, we're really just heavily focused on that.
So not to say that there is not ever going to be pop-ups again, but we're not doing any pop-ups. There really no pop-ups. You saying that? Are you your first shares? For sure.
Yeah. I mean,
no more pop-ups.
No more pop-ups. I think that it was a time and a place. And I think people do them really well still. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I just don't want to do them. I think what we can give has changed.
Yeah.
And so I hope that the spirit still lives on with the people that were there, or, but no, there are no more Girl Tribe pop-ups.
No more pop-ups.
No, didn't sell a company, just done.
You went from 4 stores to one. So it seems like you and Carrie are kind of in this like less is more entire state, right?
Yep.
Do you think it's interesting? And I guess kind of like to wrap things up, it's like, do you think it's interesting that a lot of times I've seen this with my own self? It isn't crazy like you are too. I'm sorry. I'm getting it on Leo. I'm a Taurus.
Lisa, yeah.
Same, but that's right.
Yeah.
Tough.
How do you use the crown?
My gosh. Yeah. But I think, do you think it's interesting that sometimes you find yourself back to kind of where you started?
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, we're always like, just be us. Restart. And then you're like, do all this.
Yeah.
Right, success. I can do anything.
Yeah.
More.
Yeah.
And they're like,
Oh yeah.
you really want to go back to where you were.
100%. Everything I ran from, having a young baby when I started, and, I was like, okay, she's in full-time daycare. Like, I was always like proud of that, right? Like, I'm leaving her for so almost in a way, right? Like, because I'm important and what I have to say is important. And it's true, right? We should have our own identities, and we do. And, there's all this, like, obviously history of women that are not able to do that. And so I almost felt like I put it on my shoulders that I was going to, like, prove this thing for all the women that couldn't do it before. And, like, and then all of a sudden, I'm looking at my kids and they're getting old. And, I got a 10-year-old now. And like, so, like, I try not to be like, time's ticking or whatever, But yeah, so it was like, I told Carrie, I was like, yeah, I'm not about the girls in after school anymore.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I have the mom and carpool. I've never been the mom and carpool.
Yeah.
And, I have to talk to more people every day, which is fine. I'm okay. It's hard to get out of the car there. But it's like, then I'm with my kids from 2:00.
Right.
And I never had freedom to do that. But wait, I did, and I didn't take it. So yeah. So, I mean, it's a complete change of like what we want, I mean, I think that, Carrie and I are trying to figure out what about this business to be sellable, right? And so that was another reason to cut a lot of things. Pop-ups weren't sellable.
No,
that's a real personal thing, right?
Yeah.
And the economics of pop-ups changed drastically.
Yeah,
this COVID as well.
Yeah.
Just how truly expensive it was, even from an insurance point of view.
Mm-hmm.
Just like you could never cover it. But like, it's now it's like, okay, I'm 40, just like not the oldest thing in the whole world. But, you're not some, I think, my 20s and 30s was just like, okay, I'm going to get out of these experiences and da-da-da. And now I'm like just so much more attached.
Yes. Yeah.
And when I say I mean we, because Terry and I just are like that, like,
Yeah.
it's really not a big deal she's here. Because like, otherwise it's just like me with red hair.
Yeah.
Like she's going to tell you the same exact thing.
I love it.
But it's just, yeah, I mean, it kind of is back to start, but in a better.
Right.
And so now it's like our families, trying to understand how our families fit better into our lives than just business with us. Like every day you'd wake up and it was like, what are we going to do for the business? And it's like, okay, what can I do for me? What can I do for my family?
I love
what
that.
Do I do for this world?
I mean, because at the end of the day,
you get so consumed.
It's you.
Mm-hmm.
It's your business.
Yeah.
And it's you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we get lost in, sometimes we're like, okay, we have all these people who are relying on us. And then you get the last of everything.
Yeah.
You really do as the owner. You get the last of everything. I think like the story, or like what I'm leaving with in this conversation is, it's okay to try all the things, but it's also okay to let a lot of things go when they don't serve you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that takes bravery too.
Oh,
Encourage.
Yeah. Some decisions are made for you once you leave them too long on the table. Right. You know what I mean? Employees that don't work out anymore are a great example of that. That like any employer can feel that. That somebody's got to go, but you hadn't done it yet.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes you leave them too long, and it ends up in the way. So, but I think that the great thing about getting older, the great thing about having 10 years under us, is to realize that like every decision is truly yours. Mm-hmm. That you need and you can make. You can make those decisions. Like, I always like, it's easy to joke, say like, well, why didn't I take the business in this place or that place? In retrospect, maybe I could have, and it could have been more successful. Well, now you have the time. You say, okay, what do I want to do today? Right. Then I did it. Wait, you've got to be able to learn from your shit.
Yeah,
you do. And that you've got to take control. The business will control you every day.
Yeah. Oh man, I love this conversation. I love having conversations with you too, because you are one of you and Carrie are both so transparent. Mm-hmm. And so authentic, and the real story, the real business behind it.
It just comes.
But it's so good. And I love that, because I feel like we need to share more of these types of stories, the reality. And maybe so many people wouldn't go into entrepreneurship thinking that it's going to be this great fun thing, and then realize it isn't. And then they have to go back to their jobs or whatever. Like there's just so many realities that you share. And I'm just so thankful for you being here today. Where do they go and buy a t-shirt from you?
Girl Tribe Co.
Great. It's two Sarahs here together. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of the High Achieving Female Podcast, powered by No, where we believe it's time for high achieving women like you to be seen, heard, and recognized. Until next time, remember, you deserve to be known.